as you work with cubic right angle weave, you're going to pay attention to which of the sides, or you'll select which of the 6 sides will become the side that's shared in common with the next unit that you'll build. So let's determine that this side will be that side. And for the purpose of illustration, I'll mark these beads with this marker. So we've chosen these 4 beads of this one of the 6 sides as the first unit in the next unit of cubic right angle weave that we're building. So the bead that we're coming out of is the bead that has 3 new beads added to it, and then pass through 2 of the new beads. Add 3 beads and pass through 2 of the new beads. So here are our 3 units of right angle weave, 1, 2, 3, and I'll just put these little sticks in again so that you can see clearly the 90-degree angles between the beads. These beads are all horizontal and these beads holes are all vertical. So holding the beadwork flat, I pick up a bead and return to the farthest bead. I pick up a bead and return to this farthest bead. And now that I know I've accomplished passing through the farthest beads and not an incorrect bead, I can pull my thread taut and cause it to curl up into a cubic right angle weave unit. So if I let the thread come up from the top at a right angle, I see that these 4 beads are not connected yet. So I need to pass through the 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, I split the thread. Careful there, Carol. 4. And now the 4th bead and the 1st bead are still not connected, so I need to pass through that 1st bead again. And then I make a right angle. I'll flip the work around, and now we need to connect the 4 beads on the opposite side of the cube. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we need to connect 4 and 1 by passing through 1 again. So there we have 2 units of cubic right angle weave. If we decide that we want to keep going out in a linear fashion, this would be the face that would be the face in common, or the side that would be the side in common with 2 more right angle weave units that would curl up to create a new cubic right angle weave unit. But if we decided that we wanted to make a square shape like these components here, we would need to choose 4 beads on the side and build the beadwork out sort of in an L shape, or making a right angle corner. So let's mark those 4 beads. So these 4 beads will be the first unit of the next 3 units necessary to build the right angle weave. And when you run out of thread while you're working with right angle weave, the joyful thing is that you have so many passes through the beads that in order to add a new thread, you just need to pass around through the beads a few times. So I'm just going to go around through the beads with this new thread. You can see my other thread was getting short, just like in real life. So I'm just weaving around through the beads at right angles, never going straight. I could make half hitches, but I don't want little knots to be visible between the beads. And I want my thread to extend from one of the beads that we've marked as the first side in common with the next cubic right angle weave unit that we're building. Okay, and I'll weave my old thread in later. So here's my new thread attached, and I've isolated or identified this side that will be the first side of 3. So now I add 3 beads to the bead I'm exiting, and then I pass through 2, I'm unfazed by the change of direction each time, the thing that some people find pesky about right angle weave. I just simply have the mantra of adding 3 beads and passing through 2. So now I have my 3 units, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to pick up a bead and pass through the farthest bead of the first unit. And it's that unit that's being shared, it's that face that's being shared in common with this new cube. And now pick up a bead and return to the farthest bead. Remember, I'm keeping it flat. If I allowed it to curl up, it would be very challenging to determine which bead I'm supposed to go into. So I keep it flat. That's my tip for you. And then when we pull this tight, it's going to curl up and make an L shape off of the existing beadwork. So again, our mission would be to connect the 4 beads that are not connected. So I come up out of a bead, I make a right angle and connect these 4 beads. I make a right angle through the beads and connect the 4 beads on the bottom. Now, having said that, let me just undo this for a moment and show you what might have been an option. So I always tell my beaders, never go back through the beads, always take your needle off to undo the work. So I started to not pay attention to my own advice. Picking up where we were, when we're done adding our 2 units to the existing side, the one that will be in common, if I overzealously picked it up and just attached it anywhere, it wouldn't be what my intention was. My intention was to create an L shape. So if I attached it to the wrong bead, it would just extend out. Instead, I want to be mindful of attaching it to the beads that we marked. Although you won't be marking them, you'll just be holding them in a way that you know. And you pick up a bead and go into the proper bead, the farthest bead in the first face of these 3 units, and then pick up a bead and pass through the far bead again. Pull it tight, causing it to curl up. Now pass through your 4, you're at a right angle, so pass through your 4 unconnected beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then connect 4 to 1 by passing through 1 again. Make a right angle down through the bead. When you come up, you're going to make a right angle, and it doesn't matter if you choose to go right or left, doesn't matter, you just need to connect those 4 beads. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into the first bead again. Often when we're beading with right angle weave, there are so many thread passes through the beads that sometimes it's difficult to get your needle through. When I have that problem, I call on one of these little rubber fingers. You can purchase these at the stationery or office supply store. You'll see cashiers use them when they count dollars. So I use one on my beading mat. I always have it at hand. I can just slide my finger in it, pull my needle through the beadwork, slide my finger back out, and go on my merry way. And I've seen other little bits of rubber to pick up and little tubing, and those are all dandy, but what's easier than this and just pull the needle through and then slide your finger out. So they come in a box of multiples. I think there are a dozen, so get a box and share them with your beading friends. So I hope that our experience today in beading together will make you friendly and happy and joyful in your right angle weave adventures, and that you'll create more 3-dimensional beadwork using individual units of cubic right angle weave. Anything that you can imagine sculpturally in your head, you can put together by building 1 cubic right angle weave unit at a time.